everyone, welcome back to alkaline hydroxide 784. And today we have the fourth walk, which is the 24 km from along the north-south rail corridor. And I had not seen the rail corridor before this, so I was somewhat slightly excited about it. Unfortunately, it had been an entire month since I did the 18 km one, and that kind of ruined my whole plan of doing each of them gradually, like a preparation. But it is what it is, and we will just get going with it.
Hi, so I'm at Kranji right now, which is the place for going to JB and visiting Sungai Buloh and many other such places. And I'm gonna go to the Kranji node right now and start.
So yeah, I started off in Kranji, and the entrance is in a slightly awkward location. You had to cross over the road and then walk a little bit down. And another confusing thing was this was advertised as a 24 km route, but when I entered the thing, it said 21.8. So, what? I was so confused from the start. And I started walking through the thing, and as you can tell, it looks very, how do I say, ulu. As I walked further and further, I got distracted by some insects, all the nice plants. There are lots of like industrial stuff here and there. And yeah, I kept going through that for a bit. I crossed the traffic lights and then somehow figured my way that I went through a section that did not really look like a rail corridor section and then rejoined into a proper Ulu looking section again with more nice trees and things like that, and even some birds. But unfortunately, the problem with walking here is, for me, since the route is quite rocky and stony and not very flat, it actually impacted me a little bit as I continued to walk and walk. And as you will see, this was pretty annoying for me later down the road. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess if you go the other side, you can go to the War Memorial, which is another significant place.
I could clearly hear the traffic on that side since there is a lot of traffic going to Johor Bahru and also from Johor Bahru for that matter. So as I was walking, I tried to figure out what's the actual distance by looking at these distance markers that were placed. And even then, I was a little bit confused because there were conflicting numbers here and there. So only time will tell if I walked 21.8 or 24
Birds and
Yeah, at some point of time, I really needed to go to the toilet. But, I looked at this one and unfortunately it is locked. Please do not try to use this.
Actually, I don't even know where to cross.
And eventually I came upon a temple which I had visited previously.
What? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is the temple that I went to. You can see it right there.
Yep, so this temple is pretty nice. It's once again in a slightly ulu looking area, and there's some very beautiful roosters in this temple, but I don't think you can see them from the footage here. There's also this nice canal that goes alongside, and it's a pretty nice temple to visit. Regardless, I kept moving on because I really wanted to get this section done quickly.
It's a little bit quieter here, as you can tell. We've reached another node, looks like. Or have we? I don't know. Oh, there's something there. Okay. Right.
And eventually I reached a detour sort of location.
So soon I will have to cross over there and go to the other side because there's a diversion over here.
because this north-south rail corridor in itself is, well, it has, this is going to be a pattern. It has quite a bit of detouring here and there, and it's not as like obvious in some locations where you need to go. So yeah, I took a detour along this nice park looking
So
area.
I think I'm gonna just self-divert because the rail corridor is not that interesting. Let's go on this road for some time. This is the Pangsua Park connector. Oh, look at this. And we can then join back in at Bukit Panjang.
After all of the Ulu sections, my feet were actually starting to hurt a little bit, and I was really happy to get onto the detour. Those roads were much more smooth and paved, so they were not as uncomfortable for my feet. You know, I used a proper functional toilet, and there's even a water cooler there. So please, if you're doing this particular north-south rail corridor, this is one of the places you can use. And eventually, I reached a station. As you can see, there's an LRT. So I reached the Bukit Panjang station, which has LRT and MRT.
Wow, great, brilliant science.
It looks like almost gone.
To be honest, quite a bit of the places look a bit like that.
And you might be wondering, oh, someone else has appeared. Well, that's my dad. My dad wanted to come with me, so I told him to meet me at Bukit Panjang since the first part of the walk was pretty boring. I didn't really want him to go through that. So as I walked with him, I saw some more animals, plants, all that fun stuff. And there was a little bit more of the Ulu type road, and my feet were starting to hurt a little bit more. But eventually, we managed to reach some slightly more paved looking roads.
The color itself looks different. Huh?
This is like the playground material.
The purple color.
We reached like Hillview, and we had a little break there to go to the toilet. And finally, we got to see the fun stuff. And you can see the traces of the old railroad on the pathway itself. And an actual bit of railroad is there available on the trail. So if you're not interested in walking a long distance and you just want to see the fun things, I guess you can start here instead. Instead of starting in Kranji, just start somewhere like Hillview or something. And we reached a shelter of sorts. This was like an official nice shelter with like a toilet, water cooler, and some shade. And we had some snacks and rested our feet for a bit. And you can get some nice information about the railroad, like the history, and also just about this place in general. So that's pretty interesting. I really like the rail corridor so far, apart from the fact that the first part was extremely ulu and rocky and not suitable for my feet. But either way, the rest of it is really nice. Yeah, so we continued on after the 9 mile platform, and we saw some monitor lizards. We saw another
So they used to be
set
talking.
of railroad, and eventually even some nice like bridge like structures. But either way, this place is fun. You can take lots of nice pictures. And we continued walking down further, and we saw even more like railroad stuff. And yeah, it was a lot better having someone else walking with you, especially on like this rather long and somewhat painful walk, since my feet were starting to hurt quite a bit. And after walking for a bit more, we reached the official, like the actual station that used to be there last time
1871.
at Bukit Timah. And yeah, that was pretty interesting. It felt like a bit like you step back into history. And also it presents a pretty fun photo op. You get to observe look at what structures are used for like trains and railroads and things like that, like the stuff that helps to break a train or to like change the rail, or things like that, those parts, those certain structures that are interesting for engineers like me. But yeah, after
Like the
having a
mouth
little
of
bit
the
of
back
fun
of
at the station thing, we continued walking further on. Yeah, so after a while, we reached the One North area, which is a place that I've been to
I've
many
been to this
times.
place.
It's a place with many big fancy buildings
One is
and
near
some
the
little bird watching locations.
okay.
MOE building.
Oh, okay.
And yes, it's interesting how One North is designed to provide like places for people to come and walk around and relax during their lunch break. I'm not too sure how many people actually take the opportunity to do that. So yeah, after even some more distance, while as I was fighting my foot pain, which was just getting worse by the minute, I we reached Tiong Bahru area, which
Wow.
brought up another memory for me because I had gone there on a field trip. Why? I mean, in school, secondary school for that matter. Tiong Bahru has the oldest HDB apartments, and also it has all the three different, like the temple, church, and mosque, all in close proximity to each other. So Tiong Bahru is unique in that regard, and that's what I remember about it. So I was telling that to my dad as well, like explaining what I learned during that field trip. But yeah, after taking another break at Tiong Bahru, we continued further on, and things started to get a little chaotic. I mean, not until we passed through this really pretty tunnel with like lights in it. It's another great photo op location. But eventually things got a little bit confusing because we did not know where to go. We had to take like a huge detour along some road, and we were trying to figure out how to rejoin the rail corridor, and we wasted so much time on that, and
Mara Heights, Mara Heights.
and then it started to rain, and we did the last
There,
1
huh?
km of the rail corridor in the pouring rain.
1 kilometer.
My dad literally took a huge leaf and tried to use that as an umbrella because he did not bring an umbrella. But yes, that was a lot. Like the rain, foot pain, and just the whole chaotic nature of it. We were all just like tired, like mentally tired by that point. And finally, we reached the end of the rail corridor.
How do we go out? Is there a way to go out?
Which looks extremely unassuming and anticlimactic, honestly. You cannot really do much there. There's this building there that you can see, but you can't actually enter it or do anything, which I get that, that makes sense, but it feels like, it just feels like you walk 24 km just to see an awkward ending point. I have a feeling there was something that they wanted to build there, but they did not really finish it properly. But either way, we were done, and we both just really wanted to get out of the rain ASAP. So we went to the nearest bus terminal, which is the Kampong Baru, and we took a bus back to a station and headed back home after that. Yeah, so as you can tell, this was a it was uncomfortable for my feet, but it was very visually pleasing for my eyes and my mind because there was a lot of things to see along the rail corridor, and I do recommend that you go and walk down the rail corridor. Maybe just avoid the crunchy part because there isn't much to see there. Just go through the nice middle section of it, which is the most fun part of it, and see all the actual rails and the station, and just have and maybe do it in a more chill way. Don't like try to speed run it, just chill pill, take breaks, enjoy the view, um, dwell in nostalgia if you will, do all of that stuff. And yeah, that concludes that 24 km walk. And next time, well, after the next Tanah episode for that matter, we're gonna go to the 36 km. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you and bye.